Hello all and welcome to the Terminus Directive. Today we'll be taking a look at a couple of baffling design decisions made for some really iconic sci-fi series, as well as how to fix them. To get started, let's take a look at what's probably the weirdest example, with Halo's Forward Unto Dawn. This ship is a fan favorite, and it's easy to see why. It's sleek, it's cool, the railgun superstructure design is really awesome. Unfortunately, the Halo 3 to Halo 4 transition didn't really treat the Dawn terribly well. At the end of Halo 3, Master Chief is stuck in cryosleep in the aft section of a Dawn as it drifts off into space. 4 years later, he's awakened in orbit around the Requiem shield world, still aboard the same ship. Problem is, it's not the same ship. The Forward Unto Dawn has experienced some massive changes. While canonically the Dawn is still considered a Charon-class frigate, the design is completely morphed into a much larger Strident class. The reasoning for this is pretty simple. The redesign is to give the players more room for play during the opening level of the game. It also saves money to use the new model, as the Strident class is seen later in Halo 4. So how do we fix this inconsistency? Well, for starters, the opening level of the game doesn't necessarily have to take place aboard the Dawn. There could just be a cutscene as the ship is pulled into the Requiem shield world, showing the player Chief's arrival without having to make a gameplay area for it. The first mission could just as easily be on the surface. Alternatively, there are also a number of Covenant ships in orbit around Requiem. Master Chief could just board one of them, hoping to hijack the ship and hitch a ride back to Earth. If he succeeds, the events of Halo 4 are circumvented entirely, which on a side note would probably make some fans pretty happy. And if he fails, he's sucked into the planet on a different ship. Overall, I don't necessarily fault the game designers for this, although I do think they probably could have found a more graceful decision. Keeping with the Halo franchise, this time we're looking at a Covenant ship, the CSO supercarrier to be exact. Now, the CSO is from one of my favorite Halo games, Halo Reach. The problem with the ship is that the CSO is essentially identical to the CAS assault carriers found in Halo 2 and 3. The CSO model is believed to be a CAS taken from Halo 3, shaded purple instead of white, and given a much, much bigger profile. The ship in Reach is roughly 5 times the size of its original design. The problem is, when you upscale a model like this, there are some side effects. The guns get bigger. The windows get larger. I like to imagine that the toilets aboard the CSO are big enough to swallow crew members whole. The grunts can't sit at the tables in the mess hall, so they have to bring booster seats, that sort of thing. Truthfully, this isn't really a huge problem for the game, as the CSO is pretty much only ever seen in far-off shots. I don't know if this particular ship actually needs fixing, so really my solution would just be to make some slight changes to the CAS model before you supersize it. Next up, we have the same problem, but in a different franchise. Star Wars is also guilty of this supersizing, and it's a much more egregious offense. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, has many faults. I don't hate the movie, I know that's a pretty controversial statement these days, but I definitely see where there are some issues. One such issue is found in the new Zeiston-class Star Destroyer used in Palpatine's Final Order. When the ship was first revealed, I, and a lot of other fans, were very excited to see the return of the Imperial One-class Star Destroyer. The shot of hundreds, maybe thousands of these ships in formation, with a massive storm brewing in the background, was truly breathtaking. Unfortunately, that was not to be. Now I'm going to show a comparison of the Zeiston and the Imperial One side by side. Notice any differences? No? Maybe it's because they're the exact same model. The design of this ship is so uninspired that they took an ISD from a previous movie, scaled it up a bit, gave it some red paint, slapped a big ol' super laser on the bottom, and called it a day. I'm pretty much convinced that the Zeiston design was just a placeholder, and that a week before the trailer came out, someone said, "Oops, we forgot to make the super weapon ship that's literally the greatest threat the galaxy has ever seen." And some other designer said, "Hey, let's just go with what we've already got. It's nostalgic, the fans will love it." And then they high-fived and went back to drooling out of themselves or whatever it is they do over there. It is so mind-bogglingly stupid that this level of incompetence was given to a design in a major motion picture for one of the highest-grossing franchises of all time, and I really just don't know what to say. Fixing the Zeiston is extraordinarily easy. The ISD-1 line was discontinued shortly after the events of A New Hope. The Imperial 2 class is what we see in Empire Strikes Back, and the Imperial 1s were largely refitted or phased out of service. There's no reason that Palpatine couldn't have stashed away a fleet of them somewhere while the Imperial Navy was reorganizing. Just slap a super laser onto that instead. Or, if you really want to make something different, there are a slew of other Star Destroyer models that carry super weapons. Use the old Eclipse class that was Palpatine's flagship during the Dark Empire from Star Wars Legends. We know that there's a Super Star Destroyer named the Eclipse in canon, because it's where Grand Admiral Sloane founds the First Order in Aftermath Empire's End. Whether or not that ship is intended to be an Eclipse class, or just an executor named the Eclipse, doesn't really make any difference. Or, if not the Eclipse, there are others. The Visual Dictionary for Episode 9 says that the Fulminatrix, the Mandator Force ship destroyed in the opening scene of The Last Jedi, was a testbed for the Zeiss's super laser system. Just use that! There's also the Sovereign class, or the Onager, which was revealed to us right before this movie came out anyways. Or if you're going for a real Sith ship, use the Silencer model from the SWTOR MMO. Finally, just make a new design. I know there are some talented people at Lucasfilm and at ILM. They've made the Starhawk, the Supremacy, and the Resurgence class, all of which are excellent designs. It wouldn't be too much of an ask for them to produce one more. Initially, I had another entry on this list from Mass Effect, but I think this video has gone on long enough, and my voice kinda hurts from all the ranting. If you want to see a part 2, leave a like and let me know in the comments below. Tell me what other bad designs I should cover. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching.